With us again, Matt, who's the head broadcast engineer for Texas Studios, Texas Athletics, and Caten Hyde, who's the head of creative, handling all of their athletic department and managing all the students. And students are going to be a big part of the conversation today. But to get us going, can you let the audience here know just where you started to get to this? Because what we saw didn't come together on its own, and it took a while to get there. But where were you first before you got to this, Caten?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again for having us here, Mike. We've got a great thing going with Sony in the hands of all of our students and staff, and so we're really proud of that. As far as the video that you just saw and the game environment, we're going to talk about that some more in this conversation, but Texas was really in last place out of all Power 5, now Power 4 schools in regards to live technology and live staffing and live infrastructure. So Texas had the luxury of the Longhorn Network and collecting a check from ESPN for ESPN's Longhorn Network for like 14 years. So Texas didn't have anything to do with the broadcast side at all, which was very helpful for Texas at the time. And then the video board shows in the venue were outsourced for 30-plus years at Texas. So when you pair those things together, Texas really had nothing in regards to a head broadcast engineer and staffing, infrastructure, control rooms. Texas didn't have any of that. So as part of the transition to the Southeastern Conference, ESPN's Campus Control Room project, it's on the universities to produce a lot of the content on SEC Network Plus, ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, and so on. So we had to get it together in a hurry. And people like Matt, who have a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in our new facility, really helped get that off the ground. There was some uncertainty on what year we'd be moving to our new conference, whether it be the 24-25 year or the 25-26 year. It ended up being the earlier. And basically our runway got cut in half to get up and ready to go for this. So really we went from last place to arguably top 5 in the span of about 2 years. So it's pretty impressive, and thankful for smart people like Matt and others on our Texas Studios team to help make that possible.
So this being the second time we've done this, we did one of these yesterday, and one of the things that came up was the collaboration of best practices and best of breed. So again, this was a team effort. There was a great collaboration between an integration company working closely with engineering, but also started way back when, because I remember the first time I had visited and met you, I think Darius was there, and you guys had like an FS5. You had like one camera. Now you guys are chocked to the gills, but that whole process to get there, and also, bringing on someone like Jeff Hunnell, who's did great things and then has now moved on to doing greatness now for the Houston Astros, and yourselves. But when you get brought on and you have the opportunity to get someone young like this that actually has done the reps at a Super Bowl at Cardinal Stadium leading into being available to this, Matt, can you tell us what it's like to basically go at a young age into this role, but having the reps that you had at that high level doing IP to then roll that out at this highest level for the SEC?
Yeah, and I think my time starts back when I was a student at Texas A&M, funny enough. But the same thing we try to provide for our students, it's the hands-on opportunity. So for me, it was a lot of do and learn as much as I can. Every single day, it's try to learn something new. And then learn something new, get it right, and then keep innovating and find other ways. But I've been thankful to be surrounded by great people, great integrators, our partners at Diversified and everyone else, to really, like you said, we did the best of breed, but find out what we want to do and how we want to do it, and do what's best for Texas and our students and our staff.
And we look at the images, which were just screen grabs from the package that was rolled there, and talking about students, which is really the direction of where this all leads to, right? You're an institution. It's a teaching environment. So you want to put the kind of gear that they're likely to encounter in the wild, that if they do get placed for job placement, that not only they have the ability to do it at the highest level, but they're working with the gear that they're likely to see out in the wild. So how did you come about putting the team together and then deciding what you wanted to go with to tell these stories and arm the students to be successful for their future? not just doing what you need to do for your fan base.
Sure. So Mike alluded to it when I got to Texas in 2019. We had like 2 FS5s on the shelf and kind of a hodgepodge of other cameras on the creative side. And Jeff Honnell, who we talked about, who's now with the Houston Astros, we made the decision we were going to use Sony's trade-in and trade-up program. And so we upgraded all of our equipment and got Sony's in the hands of all of our staff and students on the creative side. And that was really a gigantic leap forward in regards to quality, but also on the quantity side, the trade-in program really helped us immensely on not having to take massive steps back in the quantity of camera bodies we had available. So on the creative side, it became very clear early on that we needed to be fully Sony. And I'll let Matt speak to how we landed on Sony's for the broadcast side.
Yeah, so for us, when we designed our facility, it was best of breed. And so we wanted our students to have the gear that they would be using if they decided to go into doing this professionally. So you look at the industry and where the standards are at, Sony makes a lot of sense for us. Not only that, but with the creative side, we wanted to bring in the cinema style to the live production side. So being able to blend the FX3s with the 3500s, I mean, same sensor, same color look. We can literally go from an FX3 on our video board to a broadcast camera. They look identical.
And then what about like if you got a truck coming in for a major game day, and what you're seeing in those trucks is either going to be at or maybe below what you guys have in house now, and tell us more about what that can do for you as an organization as well as the students.
Yeah, so for big games, you know, we have on par with all of our trucks. So you'll see Sony 3500s, 5500s right next to each other. I mean, we'll have 4, 6 cameras across the board. But it's great because the game, like our CFP game, we had 26 camera angles or plus, and we used them all, and they all look great. I mean, it's interchangeability is awesome, and we share with the trucks. We go back and forth. They're using our cameras like crazy.
So I had the opportunity in the past you were kind enough to invite me to the game to see it firsthand, and in the past you allowed me to sit in your camera meetings and go with the, all right, here we're going to cover all these sports during the week, and here are the students, you're going to cover this, you're going to cover this. You give them all opportunities to sit in different seats and operate in different roles, which is great, because again, it's all about the teaching institution. But what I really like to see and what you guys have deployed is, like, you're a TCU guy, right? You came through on the coach's video side, you came through on the Mike Martin side, right? And there's certain people that have a little bit of a background with that too, but we've got A&M. You got best to be your CDC as your ADs from TCU, right? It's not just all built within Texas, but taking the best, to use that best of breed to create what makes the most sense for everybody involved. So now you're killing it at the SEC level, right? And now we talk about the students. So what are the students in your mind, and whichever one you want to take this, with what you're trying to do to them, and because everybody wants the same level of quality and output like football, but yet you have 30 other sports you got to cover. How do you manage that? And how does what you guys have chosen allow you to be flexible with that, as also including your integration with the IP?
Sure. So on the screen behind us, we've got different shots of students rotating through there. In a second, there's going to be one of Lily that pops up, where Daniel Dupeau and the rest of our staff has done a great job coaching her, and she has the ability. She's going to be running a gimbal cam in one of these photos here in a second, but she has the ability to be a camera operator on the field or on the court, and also sit in just about every chair in the control room. And that's Lily there on the screen now, and we're just really excited about Texas now being a place where employers can look for this kind of talent, where my alma mater, TCU, that we talked about, Bradley here on the front row representing the Patriots, is Mike Martin and Mike Maple's disciple. People would choose TCU for the sports broadcasting program. People would choose Texas for the film program, to sit in a script-to-screen class with Matthew McConaughey. but there was no sports component. So we're really excited to have Sony's in the hands of our students. For us, we work in higher education. We're not coaching student athletes, but we are coaching students to get better. And again, Lily's a perfect example of someone who can sit in every position in the control room and operate a camera on the field, and she'll be entering the workforce here very soon.
Beautiful. Now go ahead and transition into managing the different venues from your control room because of the volume, and how do you staff that, and how does your infrastructure allow for that to happen?
Well, I'm going to just add one more thing. And the big thing that we've done is we've invested in our people, which has been great. I mean, all these students, what you're seeing here, that was their first time filming football for this season. It was the first time we've ever done football in our venue. And we took the time to train them and get them coached up where these students now can go run and do work for a truck if they wanted to. But it all comes down to we invested people, we invested in technology, and we do a lot of sport events. So I think we're at 160 some events to date for this academic year. But it comes down to we built a model where all of our venues come back to one centralized facility. And we are fortunate enough to have the gear where all of our shows are football level shows. We have all of our teams are very fortunate. They're really great at what they do. So the same level that we treat football, we have to treat our softball teams with and our baseball teams with. So being that we went IP, we had the ability to just deploy these resources really quickly. Our set and strike times are pretty quick. We'll run a 8-camera show, and it'll be a 1 hour set time, 30-minute strike time. Again, students and the people help a lot, but just the flexibility we have with Sony and our HTCs, our TX30s, if we'll just drop them in different places. As long as we have fiber, we can get a camera up.
So getting back to something that you alluded to, Caten, early on in our discussions, especially prior to Honnold even coming on board when he was at Auburn, I remember having conversations with him where he said, I want to build a student curriculum where there can actually be credits and actually build that storytelling ability here. And I just found out this week that you guys have that now in place. So to see it go full circle and go from where it was nothing to now you can actually get something that maybe to push the student athlete across the line and says, hey, I can get a bag of money for NIL, but I could get that at another school. Having that as something, if that's interest to them, to be able to get that degree as a minor now, I think that's a huge deal, and it's neat to see that actually come to fruition. Can you tell me how that came about and what it took to get that done?
Yeah, absolutely. So this was part of a vision that was set in motion even prior to 2019, as far as a desire to, at the very least, take over the in-venue production side that had been outsourced at Texas for 30 years. So that is something where students were always going to be a key component to that operation and being able to pull that off. The transition to the SEC really was kind of the kick in the butt we needed to ensure that the ball was rolling on this operation, with students being a heavy piece of it. So really, there was no sport broadcasting academic portion at all. There's a pretty highly thought of sport management program at the University of Texas, and the Moody College of Communication is also very, very highly thought of, especially with the film program. Like I mentioned, Matthew McConaughey, people will go to Texas for a script-to-screen class taught by Matthew McConaughey. But we were missing that bridge from communications or film or sport management to sport broadcasting. And so this fall, we officially launched a minor in collaboration with our Moody College of Communication. We're really excited about that. We talked about this yesterday also, but the reason why a minor is important is because you can pull people from all walks of life across the university. They can continue on their degree track. Matt, our head broadcast engineer, was a nutrition major once upon a time, and that allows people in the business school or people in the sport management program to get a minor in sports broadcasting and still stay on track with what they originally set out to do from a major standpoint. So it's been really exciting. It's been very important to our athletics director. to both presidents as we transitioned presidents, and 3 provosts during the transition as well, and a dean, 2 deans of the college communication. So it's been very important to get this program off the ground. That sounded like a little bit of turmoil just now as I explained that, but the program is in good hands, and it did officially launch. And one example I'll use, our women's basketball team just finished up in the Final Four. Aaliyah Moore is an aspiring sports broadcaster. A student athlete like her got to host a weekly segment on a coach's show that we were doing for the first time ever this year, that she wouldn't have gotten that opportunity at another university, and she certainly wouldn't have gotten that opportunity at Texas 2 years ago or 3 years ago. So that's really exciting. Our coaches are excited about it from a recruiting standpoint because student athletes certainly have an interest in sports broadcasting. So really it's going to be a win for everyone, including the workforce, as we're able to put out more qualified and more quality and quantity graduates from the University of Texas with a sports production background.
It is really neat to see go from zero to that and see that vision come to life. So, all right, let's transition into the student side of things and the experience, right? Because at the end of the day, I remember being at past games where it was like, man, this is a snooze fest here. The boards, there's nothing really special. You'd mentioned like lowest ranked in the Power 5 schools for game presentation. Okay, let's take that in-house. You guys did it. To see it firsthand, though, you were kind enough to let me come out for Game 2 of the year. Thankfully, the game was in hand, but you had also mentioned that, hey, there's going to be a drone show tonight, so stick around. I'm like, well, I wasn't leaving anyway, but I decided to go up before the beginning of the fourth quarter where the drone show is going to be unveiled. Great music lead in and all the things. Beautifully done. Well done. But as I'm going up, I see people leaving, and I'm like, hey, you're not going to want to leave because they're going to do something special. I found their drone show. They go, drones? Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. Let's go check it out. So there were 10 of them that I brought back with me. Had my position. I saw it. It came down, had the smoke, had the fireworks and the drones. I'm like, oh, I'm getting the chills again just thinking about it. And I was like, hey, this was a wonderful way to unveil this stadium for those that hadn't seen it yet. But then the next day you reached out, Caten, and you said, hey, my guy Grant got this shot. We got to tell this story. So I'm going to lead you in. And if we could just run up that image up, you tell about Grant and how this came about, because this right here is special. And this is what it's all about.
Absolutely. So there's kind of 2 backstories to this photo. The first one is that the University of Texas and the football program itself, there was not ever viewed as a true home field advantage for our football program. Part of it was because of the product on the field. For a while, Texas was down, right? So that certainly improved. Coach Sarkisian has done his part and his staff to improve the product on the field. There was nothing really that got the crowd engaged, that got the crowd loud, that created a home field advantage for our student athletes and staff. So this photo kind of shows all the craziness that has been thrown at the emphasis on in-venue experience and the fan experience. So going on in this photo here, we've got orange smoke inspired by Austin FC and European soccer. We've got a 2-box on the video board, which was like unheard of not that long ago at the University of Texas. So credit to Matt and our studio staff there. Beautiful pyro coming off of the video board there. And then a drone show that's over our soccer stadium, just next to the football stadium, and legalized just this year drones with pyrotechnics on them. They were weaponized drones before in the eyes of the U.S. government until this summer when some regulations changed. So this is our third quarter break. There's a sequence that happens where the band plays, then there's a institutional spot that fans really love, and then we go into Thunderstruck. And so this is kind of just throwing a lot at a break here headed into the fourth quarter. This game, it happened to be in hand. Other games, it's really an exciting moment. But anyway, we took a sleepy stadium, and it's a huge group effort across multiple departments. We took a pretty sleepy stadium and created an environment that's rocking. And this photo is, one frame in the history of time that shows the progress of the in-venue experience. So now to Grant. Grant's a senior from Little Rock, Arkansas. Awesome dude, big personality. He'll be hitting the workforce here soon as well. We have an extensive shot list meeting on Fridays where we have a map. Everyone's got a number assigned on the map, and this is where Grant's assignment was to be. So he went up to the northwest corner of the stadium, Sony A7R4 in hand, and captured this awesome moment. A beat writer who had followed Texas for many, many years identified. We all thought the photo was pretty freaking cool, but a beat writer who has covered Texas for a long time says, man, this is a great photo to represent the progress that has been made in the venue and the fan experience. And so Brian Davis wrote a nice story on Grant. We got to pat Grant on the back. It's a phenomenal photo. But there's just the backstory there makes it even more special. One, a student took it with a Sony. But two, it's just a cool one frame in the history of time visual summary about the progress that has been made inside of the venue.
To me, the title could be Arrival. We have arrived, and that it really does say it, because anybody, the coverage map's great to talk about too, because anybody that's out on their own, part about getting a good shot is knowing how to command your tool set, but also the game understanding, anticipation, getting in the right spot, having the right lens on there to get the shot, and then also covering it as that ball comes into your lens or whatever. But, I mean, yes, you guys coverage mapped it because it's the professionals you are. But, yeah, he did a great job. Getting it at the same time, I don't know if he went into a burst mode or not, but, yeah, I'm glad that they ran with that, and I'm glad we're able to tell that story with Grant. So to bring it on home now, if we can talk about the students again and the complement of gear that you have, and then also talk about how you actually manage the resources to cover so many sports at that level. So can you give us, Matt, the rundown of through Diversified and with their great integration that you partnered with them to basically get this done, and then relying on the Sony gear. So what's the rollout, and then how do you manage the resources?
Yeah, so knowing that we're following an ESPN entity, LHN, and the 5-6 trucks they had, we had to kind of be on par. And it's hard to do that in year one when you literally had nothing before. I remember my first day, I was like, hey, where are the tools at? They're like, you got none. Here's your pen and paper and your laptop, and let's get started. So we built from ground up. Like we said, Diversified, Tony, Matt George, we sat down, and Jeff Honnell, and we came up with a great plan. And we found out that for us, the sweet spot is 18 3500s. And I have Ben, who's my engineer, who sits down every week, and he goes through, all right, this is the camera map for the week. This is what we're setting out. These are the lenses, the bodies. And then we figure out, okay, cool, we have a lot of these FX3s. You'll see the gimbal there that we put together. Which stadiums are those going to, and how are we going to deploy those? So it takes a lot of effort. Mondays is our sit-down we plan for our, like a couple weeks ago, our 24 events in 2 weeks. But luckily, we were fortunate enough to have the gear and these students be able to grab these cameras and run with them.
Beautiful. And then Caten, on the storytelling cameras, not the live side so much, what you're using for post. What's the complement that you have there, and how do you manage the students to deploy?
Yeah. Also, I want to make sure we compliment Matt and staff, because for those of you who aren't aware, we're talking about the broadcast that you see on SEC Network, SEC Network Plus, or one of the ESPN channels, and also the in-venue. So in-venue, it's a goal of ours and our staffs to educate, entertain, and engage. Educate, maybe talking about a batting average. Entertain, maybe twin cam, where during the Clemson game we've got different celebrities on one side and the live shot on the other, and we've got the Grinch and Dabo Sweeney that goes up there, right? So that's entertaining, and then engaging is creating that home field advantage. So Matt and our Texas studio staff do a phenomenal job with that. And then on the flip side, on the creative side, really we view our role and our main responsibility is to generate FOMO, right? To take an awesome photo like the one we looked at that Grant took and make you think when you're scrolling on Sunday morning saying, damn, I should have been at that game. That looks awesome. And so it's our job to do that across 21 sports, from football to beach volleyball to rowing to golf, several of which of those are ranked number one in the country right now. So Devin Kane from our social staff, several from our video staff, including Darren Cowles, who you know well. We sit down and we map out a week, and we might have cameras literally coast to coast or even internationally, depending on a rowing trip to England or a service trip to South America. So a lot goes into planning where those A9s, A1s, FX3s, FX30s are going to be in a week. And, it's a domino effect when you've got one camera placed somewhere it's actually not supposed to be, and then everyone else picks up the wrong camera after that. Things can get out of hand in a hurry. So the planning is absolutely critical to our mission of basically trying to match our student athletes' performance with their coverage.
And I think the cool part too is we're under one umbrella. So creative, big screens, broadcast, we're all one team. So we leverage broadcast angles, cinema angles, and we put them all together. So maybe we don't have this angle from a shooter today, but the broadcast got it.
And that's the beauty, having it all under one umbrella. Everybody gets more seats to sit in, more reps to try out, and find out where their niche or their interest winds up being, which may be different from what they initially thought or what you initially thought where they'd be good at. So last thing I'll say is, how did management and the fan base receive this? What has been the feedback after year one?
It's a great question. So, as Matt has alluded to, we were following up a ESPN Longhorn Network where they did 175 live sporting events a year. At other places, they might have not even been doing a live stream. They might not have even been doing a Facebook Live. They might not have even had a single high home camera that fans could have watched before they stepped into their ACC network or their SEC network. So that's actually a luxury that they were kind of stepping in from nothing. We're following up a linear channel doing truck shows 175 times. So it's been tough. It's been a tough act to follow. Our group has met and exceeded expectations there. It's been a fun challenge, although it does have us wanting to pull our hair out at different points. It's been a fun challenge. And moments like what's on the screen right now in venue have certainly resonated with fans, and they've recognized the progress there that took a sleepy stadium of 100,000 fans and created a real home field environment for a home college football playoff game for the first time in history.
Well, I got to tell you, having been there a number of times now, it is definitely must-see football and broadcast and event. You guys have killed it. So thank you for the trust. Truly, it's greatly appreciated. And also the great work of the team at Diversified, led by Tony and his wonderful engineers, Matt George, and the guys. But truly, thank you guys for being here, carving out the time. Thank you all for joining. And enjoy the rest of your show. Matt, Caten, thank you guys.
Thanks, y'all. Hook 'em.
Y'all.